Welcome to lockdown vlog number 10. Let's play some music and let's make some coffee. Over here we have the remote control. And as always, I'll be telling you later why I am playing what I'm playing. Here we go. Huh? You sure? Huh? No! Okay. Let's make one more and hear this last one. No. Not really, can't dance.
There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here we
Hey, DJ. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I will spend my whole life through loving you, just loving you. When the summer, springtime too, loving you, makes no difference where I go. I always do. You know that I'll always be loving you. If I'm seen with someone new, don't be blue, don't you be blue. I'll be faithful, I'll be true, always true to you. There's only one for me, and only you, yeah, well, you know it. Okay, so of course you all recognized Elvis Presley. Now I already shocked you by not being a Stones fan, not being a Beatles fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Elvis also, but my story for today is not about Elvis. Let's see, this is done. This is the Clever Dripper, a very interesting piece of machinery for making coffee. It works a little bit like a French press. Do I have one over here? Yes, I do. This is a French press, you may know that. You put the coffee in, you put water in, you wait some time, and then you put this lever down. Now this doesn't have a lever and it has a filter, which that one doesn't. But when you pick it up, at the bottom there's a stop, so it won't drip. So you can leave the coffee in there for a time, just like a French press. And then you have your wonderful coffee. So, okay. Here we go. So, Elvis. Let me just turn this down a little bit. Everybody who thinks he knows Elvis doesn't know Elvis. Let me take a sip and then of coffee and then I'll tell you why. Okay, well, I need some pictures for that. Maybe you will recognize this piece of equipment. This is designed by Tim de Paravicini. And as you know, I'm always talking about going to the Highend Munich show, and which gives me great pleasure, and I'm still very bummed that this year it does not go through, of course. But one of the things you get to do, two of the things that will give you a show like that is, one, you get to listen to equipment like this, but you also get to meet the designers. Okay, so here we have Mr. Tim de Paravicini with one of his wonderful pieces of equipment. And he is also known from studio gear, and perhaps there's some of your CDs being recorded by reel-to-reel tapes and other equipment made by Tim de Paravicini. So here he is. This sounds Italian, but this is a British guy, and in the community he is a little bit like the crazy professor. But let me tell you this, because the second thing you get in a show like the Highend Munich is that you get to meet all these wonderful people that create our wonderful systems. So these are the kind of things, and all these shiny objects are of course very hard to film, but his headphone amplifiers, his phono traps, they are amplifiers, they are very, very well known. He also makes things a little bit more studio-like in black. And this is one of his latest creations. These wonderful 100 watt amps. Now the reason that I'm telling you about this, because in the Highend Munich, let me just pan around the room a little bit while I'm telling you the story. During this show, there's a lot of cabins that people can rent. They place their equipment in there and they can give you a little bit of a demonstration. Now you have the upstairs, the big rooms that people use, but in the main hall downstairs you can also rent a little cabin, and probably that's cheaper. And Tim de Paravicini, I think 5 or 6 years ago, he had rented one of these things, of course, and I was getting into his booth and there was nobody except for Mr. de Paravicini himself. And really, he is the nicest guy, because he still loves to play with his system, and if there's nobody or 20 people, he is just playing and he takes you along with it. This was very nice. Now the interesting thing is, because he's also big in studios, and that's where the Elvis thing comes back in, he had made his own digital recordings from the original Elvis Presley master tapes, and he was playing it through a system of himself. I was the only one listening, so I had the perfect spot on a system made and set up by Mr. Tim de Paravicini. Now this was already a big bonus, of course, for those kind of shows. But he used the original masters, recorded digitally in the highest resolution that he could make the recordings from, and that is what he was playing. Now in the beginning I played this little Elvis bit and you heard some of the studio startup before the song actually got started, and that's some of the things that he also showed me. But what I learned that day is that nobody knows actually how well the voice of Elvis Presley is, because I'm not a big Elvis fan. I don't have Elvis. Well, of course I have some albums. That's what you just get through 30, 40 years of collecting music. What was I going to say? All right. I've never heard, and I've heard, of course, throughout my 54 years of existence, a lot of Elvis music on the radio, on, well, all kind of things. But none of the CDs that you have or LPs do justice to what Elvis is actually capable of. And that was the first time that I heard what an incredible voice Elvis Presley has. Even there was a second person coming in to the booth who was a big Elvis fan. He sat down, and I believe after a minute, he said, "Is this Elvis?" And this was a big Elvis fan. But I'm telling you, his voice is really amazing. And you also could hear, just like I did in this previous shot that I did, a song that I did. They had a lot of fun in recording, and then the guy in the recording booth said, "Okay, take 15." And then in a split second they went from laughing and making jokes to full on playing music and the best quality ever. So that was an amazing experience, and for me it put Elvis Presley in a completely different picture than I had him before. So this is the story for today. I'm going to finish my coffee. Let me give you a last look of the weather, because we have beautiful skies, but it is very cold at the moment. But yesterday we had some rain, and today is again a beautiful sky. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.